Hello, welcome. This evening, we are really excited to bring to you a conversation about cultivating a positive growth mindset. And with me today is Heather Mitchell. I am Jessica Cifuentes. I'm the Assistant Director at Arizona Learning Communities. Our slogan is Home Education Made Simple. And to that end, we try to bring different people to give you guys some different education and knowledge about how to homeschool your kiddos and how to have a most successful year as possible. And I'm going to go ahead and let Heather introduce herself. I think this topic that we're talking about tonight is really relevant to pretty much anybody, but particularly homeschooling parents. So I'm excited to have her with us today. And Heather, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself? And I look forward to learning from you.
Okay, thank you so much, Jessica. And I'm so excited to be here to talk to the homeschooling parents and just explain how to create and cultivate a positive mindset, a growth mindset as you continue your homeschooling journey. So, mindset really does matter. And I will tell you a little bit about myself here. I am a certified master health and life coach, and I mindset coach kids, I mindset coach teens, just on their life in general. If they're having any issues or struggles in their life, they'll come just as a parent would pay for maybe a piano lesson, they would pay for coaching for their child. I teach kids how to start and grow a business. I've got a Biz Kids program for them. I run seasonal whole foods detox and cleanses for families to eat healthier, teach them how to have a healthier body. And I coach families one-on-one to establish just greater connection through just a one-on-one coaching program with me with families. And then I'm also in the community. So lately I've been out at Fountain Hills giving presentations at the library out there, just on families and how they can flourish and be healthier and how to have a healthier brain and mental health. And then I just teach people what the path is. I'm always holding this sign, and I have this sign in my office that says, "See you on the path." And I teach them what the path is. And that path includes mental and physical health, how to get on it, how to stay on it so that you can have just a life that is thriving of optimal health and wellness. So that's a little bit about me. So I've been doing this since 2017 and I love it. So with that, I'll get right into the presentation if you'd like me to, Jessica. Okay, let's go. So my intention for this webinar for you guys is that I want you to develop a greater understanding of your brain, how it's working for you, and also how it's working against you in your homeschooling efforts. Okay. And then I want you to understand how to create a positive mindset and a growth mindset throughout this whole entire experience and this journey you're going to go on with your kids. I want to help you create an actionable plan to accomplish a goal if you've got a goal, and understand exactly what's required for you to achieve that goal. So, if you have a goal, I want you to think about it now. Do you have a goal in life? Preferably homeschooling. Do you have a homeschooling goal for what you have planned? But some people might just say, you know what, I just want to be healthier as a parent so that I can teach better, healthier body, a healthier mind for myself. All these things I want you to think about in detail. Like, let's think about a good goal before we even start this presentation that you can be thinking of in your head as we go throughout, that you would like to accomplish. Maybe by the end of your homeschooling journey, or maybe within a year from now. It doesn't matter. Just think of a goal, okay? And since you're not here to post in the comments, think about it, all right? So let's talk about your brain. Your brain is hardwired to kind of go back to what it's always been doing. It wants to stay comfortable. We have a prefrontal cortex and we have the monkey brain, which is the lower part of the brain. And that's the part that's always on autopilot. So if we're not consciously thinking about our homeschooling plan or the journey and what we want it to look like, or even our health and wellness, that's when autopilot kicks in and we start creating patterns we don't like within ourselves. And that's where we start to feel like we might be getting a little bit lazy with a lot of things in life. It might be homeschooling, but it might be with our eating habits or our exercise. And then we have problems down the road. Your monkey brain wants to stay safe. It wants to stay in the cave. It wants to do what it doesn't want to go out of the comfort zone. It wants to stay comfortable. And that's why whenever you've had maybe trauma in your past and that triggered a strong emotion in you, well, now we've created a neural pathway in the brain, and the brain will keep telling certain things about that situation that weren't even true, and it will exaggerate a story because you attached an emotion to it. And so sometimes we have to do the hard work of rewiring our brain in order to accomplish a better life and get a better outcome for ourselves and retell the story, because many stories people tell about their past aren't even true. It's all just magnified in your brain. So we want to be thinking with our prefrontal cortex. And this is how we create goals. So whenever you're creating a goal for your life or for your homeschooling journey, you're going to use that higher brain, the prefrontal cortex, to do that. It's always thinking for you. And that's why, as a health coach, for years, I taught weight loss to people. And I would say the night before, I just want you to write down everything you're going to eat the next day. Let's use our prefrontal cortex. So when the time comes, you're not just eating on autopilot and then emotionally eating. You're going to think about it and you're going to stay on your plan and stay on your protocol. And every time somebody would do that and they would know 24 hours in advance what they were eating the next day and they had it written down and they did that exactly, they were showing self-discipline to themselves. They didn't deviate from their plan, and then they were able to lose weight and be healthy. You see how that works? So this same thing can be applied to so many things in so many areas, with our marriages, with our family relationships, our parenting. We want to think of goals and we want to create a plan, and we don't want to deviate. We want to stay right there. So here's how I teach people to self-coach their brain, because when your brain goes on to default mode, it's not going to know what to do. So we have a model here, the life coaching model learned from the Life Coach School. It's called the CTFAR model. The C stands for circumstances, the T stands for thoughts, the F stands for feelings, the A stands for actions, and the R stands for results. So let me explain. There's going to be certain circumstances that happen in your life, whether good or bad, and you're only going to make it good or bad from a thought that you're going to have about that circumstance. And when you have a thought, it produces a feeling, a one-word emotion in your body, whether that's frustration, anger, happiness, sad, neutral is even an emotion, just not feeling anything, like meh. And then when you have that feeling, you're going to take action based on that feeling. And after you take the action, that's when you get a result in your life. So if you don't like the results in your life, we got to go back and go, what are you thinking about? What's happening in your life? What are you making it mean? Because it's that thought that's producing the feeling, that's creating the action, that's giving you the result. Once you understand this, you gain all your power back over your brain and take control of your life again. And this is what I teach kids when I'm teaching them positive mindset habits for themselves, is they're in control. It's not the circumstance. It's not the grade on the paper. If they're going to a public school and they get a grade and they make it mean something bad about them, it's what they're thinking about it that gives everything meaning. And that's where we get to change what we're thinking about our life and the circumstances, whether it's homeschooling or whatever it is, in order to create a different result if we don't like the result. Okay. So if you had a challenge and you were to tell me what that is, you could tell me. I'd have you post in the comments, if you were here, what's your biggest homeschooling challenge? But since you're not here, I thought about some things as I was homeschooling that were challenging for me as I was going through that journey. And what I will do here is I will go to my next slide and go, hey, let's coach on it. Let me show you what that would look like real fast here. If we were to coach on a certain situation here, let me put my text in. And I'll just type something in here. So we have a circumstance. Let's just say the circumstance is homeschooling. Okay. That's our circumstance. Now, my thought might be, if I'm not thinking clearly with my higher brain, my thought might be, this is a full-time job. A lot of people think that about homeschooling. Holy cow, this is a full-time job. This is going to be hard. This is going to be difficult. When I'm thinking thoughts like that, I'm going to create a feeling of burnout, because burnout is actually a feeling in your body that's created from a thought in your head. Crazy, huh? So then I'm going to create some burnout. And when I have the feeling of burnout, what do? My action is to retreat. Okay. I might go into my room. I might not talk to people for a while. I might be moody. Okay. Or I might be irritable. Okay. And people in my family are going to know it because I'm going to be lashing out at them. And then the result is what? My result is my emotions are the full-time job. Can you see how crazy that is? It's not the homeschooling experience. It's my emotions that become a full-time job because I have to manage my brain. And that's exhausting. Have you ever been so mentally exhausted at the end of the day? It feels like you were running a marathon and it wasn't your body that was running the marathon. It was your brain. And so you caused all this exhaustion for yourself from the thoughts in your head. But I have some good news, okay? We get to change all of the things except for the circumstance in order to create the life that we want. If we don't want to feel burnout anymore, if we don't want our emotions to become a full-time job, we have to be thinking different thoughts about what's going on in our life. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to delete all of this here, and we're going to just keep our circumstance right there. But now I changed the thought, and watch how it changes the emotion in my body, which will create a different action, which gets me a different result. Homeschooling. What if I thought this instead? This can be easy and fun. If I think the thought, this can be easy and fun, what is my one word feeling? In one word, I might have the feeling of curious. I wonder how this can be easy and fun. I might also have the one word emotion of excitement. Okay. That might also be an emotion that comes up. When I'm curious, when I'm excited about homeschooling, what do? What's my action? I'm flexible with my schedule. Okay. I don't expect a ton of things to get done if they're not going to get done. Okay. Flexible with my schedule. I also add fun events for the kids to do. And I also, guess what else I do? I take naps too, because that's the cool thing about homeschooling. I can take a nap if I want to. I can schedule that in. No big deal. Now, when I'm doing that, guess what my result is? My result is everyone loves homeschooling. Kids love it. I love it. It doesn't feel like a full-time job. It's actually fun. It's easy. It's light. And guess what? The kids are thriving at their own pace. And that's pretty darn cool. So we can see just from those two examples, which one's going to give us the best result for our life. Now, I had another one on here. Let's go over this one, okay? Let's do another one real fast, just to give you another example. Circumstance. Keeping kids engaged. Okay, that was also one that I was like, oh, this is going to be difficult because keeping kids engaged can sometimes be difficult when you're homeschooling. Keeping kids engaged. My thought about that is, this is harder than I thought, okay? Because they're all over the place and they're not paying attention. And then when I think that thought, guess how I feel? Defeated. In one word, that is a word that I feel when I'm thinking that thought. This is harder than I thought. Defeated. When I feel defeated, guess what I do? I beat myself up. I tell myself I'm not a good mom. I'm not a good homeschooler. I'm not good at this. Maybe I should put them in school. I think negatively about my kids and their learning capacity. Okay, that's what I'm doing when I'm feeling defeated and I have that thought, this is harder than I thought. And then what's the result? Homeschooling is hard. Kids aren't engaged. Yep, that's exactly what happens. And it all stemmed from my thought that this is harder than I thought. So notice your thoughts about any situation you're in with your kid when you're homeschooling, or any situation in life that you're in. It could be a financial thing you're going through. It could be a marriage thing you're going through. Notice your thoughts about it. And that is going to produce a result in your life. So remember, we cannot change the circumstance, but we get to take back the power over everything else in this model. So what else could I be thinking instead of this is harder than I thought? How about this? I'm willing to go with the flow. I'm willing to go with the flow. Kids aren't engaged? Well, I'm willing to go with the flow. How do I feel when I'm thinking the thought I'm willing to go with the flow? Neutral. I don't make it mean anything good or bad. It's just, it is what it is. It's neutral to me, okay? When I feel neutral, what kind of actions do I take? We might take more breaks. if I find that they can't engage well. I'll keep trying new learning tactics. Okay. I'll just keep trying new learning tactics. I'll take more breaks. That's all. No big deal. When I do that, what's my result now? Kids are more engaged because they're not feeling the burnout either. We just got to find what works. When I'm curious and I'm neutral about it, we just keep trying. It's a science experiment, right? We're just finding what works to keep the kids engaged, and each one at their own pace, and not making it mean anything bad about them or what's going on, because I'm willing to go with the flow. We might not need to learn as much one day as we might another day, and I don't need to push hard, and I can just make this easy and fun. All those thoughts bring me a better result with homeschooling than this is so hard. Oh my gosh, my kids, what is wrong with them today? They just cannot sit still. They are not engaged. All those thoughts are going to lead you to your worst action as a teacher, but also as a parent. And you're not going to like the way you show up. I guarantee that. So if we want to really guide these children into learning and becoming leaders within the community through these homeschooling things that we're doing, then we have to be thinking different thoughts about the whole thing. Okay. So I hope that that makes sense. I'm going to go back and present here, and we're going on to the next slide. But first, Jessica, do you have any questions about that?
Not so much a question. I love that. Like, I am totally going to be doing this after the session.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. I have so many great things that I could put into that circumstance and thought process. One of my thoughts that I was wondering about your feedback is it, do we sometimes need to adjust our goals, or is it more just the thinking about our goals?
Because I was thinking about your goals.
Yeah. I was originally thinking about my goal, and sometimes I am so fixated on that goal, perhaps, that I'm leading to my actions are the ending point. The results aren't what I'm wanting to see, but yes. I think it's probably how I'm thinking about that goal.
It's 100%. Because the people who reach their goals have to be thinking thoughts like, this is coming, it's working, there's no time frame, I can get this done whenever. You have to be flexible in the timing of things too. You set a date for your goal, but if the date doesn't come, we don't beat ourselves up. We be flexible about it. And we just say, well, this is taking longer than I thought it would take, but that's okay too. I'm still going to go with this goal because it feels good in my body. And what you can do to even magnify and get quicker results is to meditate on that goal every single day. First thing in the morning when you wake up, you do maybe a 10-minute meditation of some deep breathing, and you just focus on that goal. And you have to get the emotion to align. So your heart and your brain have to align for that goal to come quicker for you. You have to feel it in your body like it's already done. And what would that feel like to have accomplished that goal? And once that heart aligns with that brain, that's when it moves faster and it starts working quicker. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does make sense. I think that, and this might not be true for all homeschooling parents, but if you have we talk about doing SMART goals or things like that. Sometimes when we're setting goals or
realistic,
or I want, this child to progress from point A to point B. And sometimes forcing that goal to happen with not good alignment or good thought processes can have a result that's very different from what your goal was in the first place.
Yes.
At times. So that is so helpful. So I think that is good to know that hold that goal, think about it, but also know that the times might not be your time frame, right?
And here's the thing. Sometimes those goals are so big that they seem unrealistic, right? Like, what if we want to be a millionaire, but we haven't even made 6 figures yet in our business? That's a long ways away. So if I need to meditate on something else to get me to that bigger goal, I've got to meditate on the steps, even like me doing the steps and those steps accomplished to get me into that level of getting to where I want to be. Does that make sense? So I'm not only focused on that big goal, which is going to feel amazing, but also, okay, what are some next step actions I can really meditate on and think about that will drive me into action to doing these things that get me that goal?
Yes.
So if I'm thinking about running a marathon and I'm seeing myself in the marathon and I'm at the end of the marathon, 26 miles, I'm seeing what 5 miles feels like in my body. And I'm seeing myself run 5 miles every day. And I'm closing my eyes and I'm meditating on that. Now my body's going to go into action running that 5 miles every day. It's working on that. Then 10 miles, then 15, right? Until I can really get a good endurance built up to run that marathon.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's great. Sometimes it's easier with those sports analogies. We're like, I get that. We can't just run a marathon tomorrow
Right.
for most of us.
Yeah. Yeah.
But that can also go with even with our children and things, like homeschooling and things like that. Sometimes we do need to maybe to think about it in reasonable, achievable goals that
Yeah.
we can get to. So no, thanks for that clarification.
And
But
it's amazing. There's something I wanted to bring up because I was thinking about it today.
mhm,
I was thinking about a skateboarder. Like if you put me on a skateboard right now, I'm going to be all over the place and falling down and crazy. And I thought, well, what makes me different from the person who gets on that skateboard and they're confident and they just are going fast? And it literally is your thoughts. Yes, they've practiced, but they
mhm,
feel so confident and comfortable on that board that they can just breeze. Where
mhm,
I'm like, oh no, am I going to fall? Now I have all these thoughts of getting hurt. And what if I sprain my ankle or my arm? And now I can't homeschool this or I can't do that. And then I can't do this or that. And I
mhm,
start thinking about all this other stuff in my head instead of just like, this is easy and fun. They say that the more you even meditate, if you've never played the piano, if you're even meditating that you know how to play the piano and you go get on a piano, a lot of people are proving that they can actually learn
mhm,
faster and quicker and be so much better at it than
mhm,
people who do play.
mhm,
So
mhm.
it's just interesting
It
that our
is
thoughts
fascinating.
can control a lot of things, which
Mhm,
brings me to this next thing, which is mistakes and failures, because we're going to fail, we're going to mess up a lot,
mhm,
and learning from those mistakes and failures, it's going to be that part of the process that's very important. So you can't give up. You have to use those setbacks as opportunities to learn and to grow. We don't beat ourselves up or say we just can't do this, and get down on ourselves, but you get yourself back up and you
mhm,
continue to grow, and you have to look at those setbacks as, okay, I'm one step closer to where I need to be to make this work.
mhm,
So the lesson for the day is this:
mhm,
failure helps you build resilience and perseverance. So when you experience those setbacks, you develop the skills to pick yourself back up and keep going. And this is going to help you establish that growth mindset, the one we want that just is on fire and is in growth mode and gets momentum. And then you feel like you're always enlightened and you're having all these amazing ideas and you're creating a lot, all because you know how to persevere through the hard times and those setbacks. So you're not letting yourself get down, but you're just pushing through that down and getting your brain, you're doing that model on your brain, the CTFAR, to neutral at least, and then to a positive emotion where you can produce better action.
mhm.
So how can you use setbacks as an opportunity to grow? Take a minute to think about this. How can you use your setbacks as an opportunity to grow? And here's some rules of failure. Rule number one: it's important to change your mindset about failure. Instead of seeing it as something to be avoided or ashamed of, view it as a necessary step on the path to success. Okay, it's a necessary step to fail. If we looked at failure like that, this has to happen in order for me to grow and become better, we wouldn't be so down about failure and ourselves. And rule number two: embrace failure as a chance to grow and improve. Look at it as an opportunity to learn something new, refine your skills, and move closer to your goals. I mean, maybe your goal as a homeschooler is just to understand math better because you don't like math. Well, practice math. Start learning, watch some YouTube videos on how to do certain functions and different things, but look at it as an opportunity for your personal development and growth too, as you stumble through some of the stuff that you're trying to teach your kids and you may not know. This is your opportunity to grow and get better and expand your knowledge. So you got to look at it that way.
Mm.
All right.
Quick question
So,
on that topic. So
yes.
it was so good, and you probably are going to get to that too.
Mm-hmm.
And this is something that, as a parent, 100% we need to embrace. I'm thinking of one of my kiddos in particular
Yes.
that it would be lovely if this was part of already her mindset. So how do we, I mean, I'm sure modeling is huge in our own,
Mm-hmm.
as we model this acceptance of failure, even maybe talking it out with our kids. How would you encourage this also in our kids? I have some kids that just don't shut down, right? I'm sure we all, parents watching this, has a kiddo or two that they get to something and something happens and they go into shutdown mode.
Yeah. And kids are a lot different than adults. They don't typically seem, especially when they turn into teenagers, they don't want to be vulnerable and just express their feelings to you. So I'll tell you what I do. I like to go into my son's room when it's quiet and he's kind of alone and things are settled down. And I just say, look, buddy, I'm here for you if you want to talk about anything that's going on. And I'd love to hear what's bothering you the most right now. If I say it like that, like, what's bothering you the most right now? Then typically he might tell me one thing that's bothering him. And if I can get that one thing out of him, I can go through the model, because now I have a circumstance. Now I can say, oh, okay, so your friend said this thing to you. They said these words. What did you make it mean? If I say those words, what did you make it mean? Now I can start saying, oh, I see what happened. He said this, you made it mean this. And then I might say, can you tell me in one word how that feels in your body? Like, how does that feel in one word? Angry, frustrated, whatever it is. And then I can say, oh my goodness. And then I might say, well, when I see you're getting angry, you come into your room and you shut the door and you don't talk to anyone. I notice you shut down. Is that, would you think that that's accurate? And he might go, yeah, I do that. And I listen to my music. I'd say, yeah, I can see you doing that too. And then I might say, do you like the result of that going on? I just work it through a model. Are you okay with this going on? How do you want me to respond to you when you do this? Do you want to change that? If you want to change your result and you don't want to keep doing this anymore and you want to feel at peace, can I offer you some suggestions? And that how I always try to get buy-in and permission before I start to coach my kids. Yeah. Otherwise, it goes out the window. And then if they want to be mean and nasty still and they don't want to talk to me, I let it be. I do not make it mean anything bad. My kids won't talk to me. They don't love me anymore. I never go to those thoughts. I just go, look, they're having a really hard time right now. This isn't the time. And so when they're ready, I'm going to let them know that I'm here and we can coach on it. That's really the best you can do as a parent, right? Not force it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Good.
No,
any more questions?
No, yeah. That's great. So thanks for feeling that one. Keep going. This is great.
So the two of the most important qualities you need to succeed in anything you do as a parent, as a homeschooler, as a spouse or a partner, whatever, is effort and perseverance. These are the two things, effort and perseverance. So let's talk about the definition of both of those things so you have a good understanding of how to work that into your daily routine. Effort means this: putting in the time and energy to learn and improve. You've got to be willing to do that. And perseverance is not giving up even when things get tough. It doesn't mean that you don't have a bad moment and need to be in your room and be alone for a minute. Okay. And you might give up for 5 minutes or 10 minutes, maybe even a day. But we have to get ourselves back up even when things are tough, and we keep going, because that's where we're going to build the grit, and that's where we're going to build the self-discipline. So that's where our own personal growth comes in, when we decide we're putting in the effort and we're going to persevere no matter what. Okay. So by putting in the effort and persevering, you will develop a strong sense of self-discipline, confidence, and resilience that will serve you well throughout your life, no matter what comes your way. Whatever tragedy, trauma, crisis happens in our country, to your family, whatever, if you can have effort and perseverance, you're going to build that self-discipline. And that is a strong person who can be a leader and carry their kids through anything and teach their kids to become that too. So just remember, you've got this in you, even if you don't think you do. And as you keep practicing it, it's going to build confidence within yourself as a parent to do all the things you need to do. Even if you're a single parent and going through some hard things, this will make you stronger, better, wiser in all areas of your life. Okay, I promise. So those two things right there. And you have to be willing to ask for help. You can't just take it all on yourself and just pretend you're Superwoman. What does that create? A lot of burnout, because you're going to feel some overwhelm. You're going to feel some burnout, and you're going to start taking actions you don't like. And then you're going to get results you don't like. So you have to be willing to ask for help from neighbors, from family members, from people at your church communities, whatever homeschool groups you have. Even if you don't think you know people well, this is a good time to get to know them. Ask for help if you need help. It's okay to ask for help when we face these challenges or make mistakes, because asking for help is a sign of strength, not weakness. If you can remember that, it's a sign of strength, not weakness, to ask for help and to delegate so that you don't feel like so much is on your plate. Okay, that's an important one. All right, what else? The secret. Here it is. We're at the very end, really, of this presentation, but here's the secret. Get good at feeling negative emotion, and you will control your entire life. Okay, because negative emotion is going to come. You are just going to feel it. It's part of the human experience. And what does it mean to get good at feeling negative emotion? It means that you don't let it drag you down. It means that you try to keep coaching your brain to get to a place where you just feel neutral and can build up from there. Okay, so negative emotion is anything from depression, anxiety, overwhelm, sadness, feeling down, lack of energy, lack of motivation, to getting yourself into some thought habits that at least get you to neutral. But you've got to get good at the negative emotion. We don't just push the negative emotion down, because just as you would push a big old beach ball under the ocean or the water and you're holding it down, eventually that ball is going to just explode and pop out of that water because it wants to come up. And that's how emotions are. If you keep pushing them down, they eventually come up and explode. And they might explode in some unexpected ways, like cancer or disease in the body. And that's what we don't want to happen. So this is really important. Learn how to get yourself out of stress and learn how to get good at feeling that negative emotion and letting it be and not resisting it. Telling yourself, this is 50-50. Life is 50 good, 50 bad. I'm just feeling the 50 bad right now, and that's okay. Feeling anxiety today, that's okay. Anxiety is going to come with me today. And you don't make it mean anything bad about you or your life experience. It's just what it is. And when you can get good at that, you gain control over your entire life. Okay. So you get fired from work, whatever it is, get good at negative emotion. How are you going to get good at that negative emotion when you feel that everyone's against you? Well, that's your work to do. That's your work to do, is to figure out how to get your body back into a place of nothing's gone wrong here, and I'm going to be just fine, and I'm going to persevere and put effort into this to becoming better and learning from this, and just understanding that life is all about learning from our mistakes and growing from that. Okay. So here's our new thoughts to think about homeschooling. This can be easy and fun. This doesn't have to look perfect. My kids are amazing and learning at a pace that's perfect for them. When you have these thoughts, and if you can find one, if it's not here, if you can find one that you can truly believe and feel it in your body, that's where you're going to gain the most peace. Because when you're thinking any of these things, you're going to feel more peace about it. You're going to feel good about it. You'll be able to move forward and really enjoy the whole homeschooling experience. Okay. So now it's time to take action. We've talked about several things here on this webinar, and this, I guess we've only been here for 33 to 35 minutes here, but I'd love to hear from you guys in the future what you want to take action on. You can always email me at yourhealthcoacheshere@gmail.com. I'd love to hear what you want to try to improve. Is it going to be your thoughts? I hope so. I hope that's the main thing. Is it going to be just trying to have more perseverance and put more effort into whatever it is you want to do? Is it going to be setting goals and really meditating on your goals every single day? Don't skip a day. Do it every day. And try to get your body into that emotion of, it's going to feel so great when I get there, and pretend like you're already there. Put that emotion in your body and just feel it and live it and breathe it. And then take care of your body in the meantime. You're eating healthy, you're drinking your water, you're exercising, you're getting your sleep, because those little self-care pieces that are free like that go a long way in you feeling good and be able to think better thoughts about the whole thing. It really does. When you are worn out and you haven't slept in days, imagine what that does to your body and your hormones. So 7 to 9 hours is non-negotiable for me, because I need to be a good parent who's there for my child, and a good wife who's there and supportive for her husband, and just trying to keep up with all the things that I do daily too. So I know that those non-negotiables for me have to be drinking my water, have to be getting my sleep, and working on my nutrition and my exercise, because that's all for my mental health too. Okay. And it helps me to think better thoughts. So here's some next steps if you're ready to go further with me. Just like I said, you could sign your kid up for life coaching. It's like signing your kid up for piano lessons. I've got a monthly thing where they do a session with me every single week, 30 minutes, and we just work on their brain and I teach them this kind of stuff. Okay, that's one way. Other times, whole entire families come to me, and the whole family, including the husband and wife, they come get coached. If anything they're struggling on in their marriage, we work through all of that. We get you on a nutrition plan. It's a more in-depth program. It's 6 months long. Or I've got resets. So 7-day resets where we're eating whole foods together. We're not eating sugar or flour or putting anything toxic in our body for 7 days, can bring inflammation down. So every season I do one of these. My next one is October 9th. If you don't see this webinar by then, you've missed it, but you can always do them on your own. But if you'd like to do them with the group, my next one probably won't be till January, February. Okay, but those are some ways. And then, of course, I teach a 6-week mindset class for kids. A lot of the stuff I taught you tonight, I teach it to kids because sometimes kids don't want to hear it from their parents. It's easier to have it from an adult. And yes, I'm on your ESA board. So, I mean, that means that ESA pays for my classes. So if you can gather a group of maybe 6 to 8 kids, I will host one at my house. And it's $150 per child. And your child will come here and we'll do 6 weeks back to back, 1 week, and then the next, and then the next 1 hour long sessions together where we're really diving deep into this stuff. Okay. My problem is in the past, when I've wanted to do these, there's only been 1 or 2 kids who show up at a time. And it's better for me if I have a group of 6 to 8 right in there. That makes it really worth my time. And then all your kids get to kind of interact with each other and learn from each other. And it's really fun. Okay. So if you've got a group that would like to do that, you let me know. We'll put a date on the calendar that works for all of you. And that's always fun. And this is how you contact me. I'm located on 32nd and Southern and Mesa. So when I do host in-person classes or cooking classes for kids, I sometimes do those. I'm on 32nd and Southern and Mesa, just so you know. Phone number, email, website, all of it. Thank you so much for attending this webinar, and reach out with any questions you have at yourhealthcoacheshere@gmail.com. Thank you, Jessica, for having me tonight.
Thank you so much. And I will also have all this information on an email. This will also be a blog post. So I will put the links so people can just click right on it. And we so appreciate the wisdom that you've shared with us this evening. Definitely just like the breath of fresh air that I personally needed. And it was really a good reminder, honestly.
Yes.
Maybe something that maybe I knew in the past, but you get into the grind and like, man, I knew that. I need to go back to doing those things. So really so appreciated. And as always, if you need to reach out to us as well, and we'll get you in contact with Heather as well, but the information is there. So thank you so much for watching.
Absolutely.
We'll see y'all later.
Bye-bye.